The Ulcerative Colitis Personality. This is a paper done by a nurse going for her master's at Boston University, written in 1970. My name is Mike, the Heal Your Gut Guy, and I recovered from Crohn's and colitis using my 13-day protocol, and I have other people use it to get better as well. More details about that in my free webinar. So in the beginning of this paper, she's kind of describing how people with ulcerative colitis that come in, they're usually really difficult to deal with because they're super emotional, they get angry easily, they're always frustrated, they're always hitting the little bell to call the nurse, and even when the nurse does help them, they're complaining about that. And she's not really faulting them for that because back then it was common knowledge, and she says this right here. Because of the recognition of the role of emotional factors in ulcerative colitis, psychotherapy is employed with the aim of helping the patient deal with the factors in his environment that are putting him into a flare. And authors believe that people with ulcerative colitis have been dealing with a very long and intense conflict. So what this nurse is trying to say is, like, although that these people are super emotional and difficult to deal with, in order to help that person get better, we need to help them rein back that unfun, negative part of their personality. I used to be super frustrated, super critical, just like brooding behind the scenes. Uh, like, I wasn't a fun person to be in a relationship with. Like, someone doesn't always want to get yelled at and just always feel like you're making somebody angry and guilt tripping the other person, whether you're the guy or the girl in the relationship. It is not fun. And I've noticed, like, since I've gotten my emotional, air quotes, issues under control, like, people just enjoy being around me more. And I enjoy being around myself more because I was just miserable all the time. And the more miserable I was, the more intense my symptoms got, which in turn made me more miserable because it's not fun crapping on the toilet all day long. But now that's a thing in the past. I do whatever I want, and it's all because of I didn't make my 13-day protocol back then, but we have it now. This is what I would do if I had to do it all over again to help get my emotional issues under control. Seeing a psychiatrist can help, but they won't. Like, you might be stressed out about 10 things, but there's only one or two of those out of those 10 things that are putting your gut in and out of overdrive. And the psychiatry scene is pretty lame nowadays. If you want a good laugh, ask a psychiatrist what an emotion is, and they won't even be able to tell you. It took me a long time to actually figure out what an emotion is, and I go over the proper definition. How are you going to fix somebody's emotional issues if you don't even know what an emotion is? How are you going to fix your anger issues if you don't know what an emotion is? What's its biological purpose? I go over this in much more detail in my free webinar. I'm going to share with you more excerpts in other videos of this, but this is the first one. She is speaking like it is common knowledge. Like, if you went on WebMD, it'd be like, yeah, it's caused by stress. Whereas today they're like, yeah, we don't know. We don't know anything. Even though we spend billions of dollars a year trying to figure this stuff out, we don't know anything. They knew this in the 1970s. They knew it was caused by stress. It was labeled a psychosomatic disease, 50 years ago. And mainstream science and mainstream medicine doesn't want you to have access to these types of lab studies. It was behind a paywall. I think I paid like $50 for it just to read like a 10-page article.